before, everybody knew what a downwind was. We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist. And it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Bloomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Bloomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck. Oh boy, this is a big day and a big moment in the anti-nuclear fight, in the fight for humanity. This is a huge, huge, giant today. We have to, all nuclear fighters, I'm not kidding, all of you, all human rights activists, all people, so-called truth tellers, all people that give a damn about humanity, and these so-called oligarchs and the powers there be and their propaganda machines, it's a giant day. I want everybody to never forget this. This is a giant story that's circulating in Europe, a giant story. Elena, who raised in Perth, Scotland, and you Scots that are listening, I know you a lot of them are, and you guys are getting raring up William Wallace, Unite the Clans. You guys are trying to push back from the Queen right now in his uranium mines. She's one of yours. She's your girl. Your girl. She died of liver cancer. She passed away. You're talking, she was born in the Ukraine. Her doctor issues a statement saying he believes that it was Chernobyl. Femin, their quote, I will use their quote over and over and over today. As Femin went in and held those signs up in Chernobyl, killed by peaceful nuclear power. Let's remember this about the Ukraine. You don't think those girls had it with watching all their friends die year in, year out? Chernobyl kills hundreds of thousands a year, year in, year out. Somehow we think this is in past tense. It's like here in Utah. It's not in past tense. Plutonium's half-life is 24,500 years. More people died from Chernobyl this year than they did in 1987, 1988. It's progressive because it's bioaccumulative. Now, never forget this, all you anti-nuclear fighters, every historian, you writers, you people that are going to record this in history. This needs to be heavily, heavily recorded. The exact day the UN, the propaganda, evil powers there be, the UN is the nuclear cartel. The IOC, the UN, the IAEA, they're the exact identical same people, the most corrupt people on the face of the earth, bar none. Putin's army, the Queen's army, the United States Department of Energy army, they're the same people. They're the same people. The exact day that she passed away, you're talking a world-class marquee athlete, 30 years old, just dies of liver cancer. Oh, yeah, that's the normal path of life. This happens over and over. The same day that she passes, the UN issues a statement that cancer rates have not increased, will not increase, and no one's died from freaking Fukushima, and no one will. While Fukushima is on gone, these are hardcore crimes against humanity. Until you people wake up and realize this is a fucking war. This is a full-blown out war that is being waged. I'm going to first talk about the Russian thesis. We're going into the Utah thesis. We're going to dive into history. I'm a history guy. History repeating itself right here, right now? Absolutely, 100%. What's going on in Ukraine is Chernobyl. You know, somebody says, what's going on in Ukraine has nothing to do with Chernobyl? What fools? What fools? Operation Foxconn, who's shoving down your money, how they're financially breaking you, financially destroying you, while everybody else who doesn't listen to Foxconn is getting wealthy. The diverse America, the two Americans. We're going to talk about the participation rate in the employment. We're going to talk about the greatest depression in United States history, which is ongoing right here, right now, for half of the populace of the United States. We're going to talk numbers in hard detail. First off, Russia. Let's talk about Chernobyl. We're going to talk about Stalin. We're going to talk about FDR. We're going to talk about Churchill. In the reality, not what you want it to be. We're going to talk about the truth, the evolution of the nuclear bomb. First off, let's talk about Russia, what was going on 100 years ago. You're talking, one royal family ruled the world, the entire world. The Russian czars, the families across the Western Europe complex, the English colonialism that had gone on for a few hundred years, they were all cousins. The bleeders, all cousins. Russia had come off, Russia was dealing with famine, hardcore famine in that region. I mean, some of the most brutal famine in the history of humanity. The Russian Revolution breaks loose, the World War I breaks loose, you know, which all ties into Einstein's theory of relativity when Campbell, who's a Californian, was up on that hill, you know, trying to get his whole thesis, Einstein, was that light curves. He had to prove it. And the only way he could prove it was through an eclipse. Well, eclipses only happen in certain places in time. Believe it or not, there was a guy up on the mountain, Campbell, California. And, by the way, Campbell had it dead wrong. And was a peace activist. He was a Quaker. Who, without the Quaker, without him, there is no Einstein. So, Campbell goes to the Ukraine, 1914. In your head. Who stole Bongo's trousers? And I want everybody to know this channel and this station is not for the little kids. You little kids, you run along, get your gold bars and your guns, and you buy your silver bars that Max Kaiser, Glenn Beck, Hannity, Fox News, everybody on YouTube told you about why the Dow went up 200% in the greatest returns. And those are the dollar crash. No, the dollar has gotten stronger in 5 years. The dollar went from 75 cents to $1.60 against the euro from 2003 to 2006. From 2008 to present, the dollar's actually gotten stronger, believe it or not. Well, by default, a dead cat bounce, no doubt, went from $1.60 to $1.38 by no fault of the United States Fed, no fault of Operation Foxconn. Foxconn has an agenda. There's no doubt they're funded by the CIA to extract every single penny from you, to destroy your life. That's what Fox News is up to. Rupert Murdoch's an evil, sick fucker. Evil from the House of Windsor. Oxford Rhodes Scholar, educated. Carl Rhodes, Rhodesia. Oh, the diamond guy. Diamonds are not rare commodities. They're not rare. They're all blood diamonds. It's going on in Africa again right now. So Russia, it all breaks out. Campbell reports to the society that does not curve. Right as he's reporting, there's a Quaker, a peace activist. He went over and did his. I believe he did his a couple of years later in Australia. And the only reason he drew in Einstein was a peaceful activist. He was anti-war. So was the Quakers, of course. Clear back to the abolitionist movement. Really the quintessential abolitionists or Quakers. He says, no, because Campbell didn't have the right equipment when he did his in Oregon. His in Russia, the war broke out. They come and took his equipment. He's sitting there in the Ukraine. I mean, history repeats itself. Right, did his freaking work. Thrown in jail. Part of those guys were thrown in jail, the guys that set up. The war broke out in the Ukraine. Now, let's remember this. Ukraine has 14 nuclear reactors. One of them was seized immediately. And if you even Google and type it in, they will take it down under the Patriot Act. Now, I've been talking to Wyden's office. I've been talking to Barbara Boxer's office, as you know. I've been going, I was heavily involved in critical condition in my hospital room with Boxer's office. I have had their ear the whole time. They promised me, this is their words, Kevin, we promise you that the nuclear debate and the fight on San Onofre, on Fukushima, is ongoing, but under the Patriot Act. It's all been pushed underground under the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act is the greatest blow to the Constitution ever. The Unpatriot Act, it backdoored the United States is a republic with a Constitution. The Constitution has been amended 17 times. Oh, you say, no, 27. No, the first swipe, the Bill of Rights, was 10. There were 10 in the first swipe. Not just the Second Amendment, not the first. There was this. Read up. Do you even know what the 8th is? You know what the 5th is? You know what the 6th is, the 7th? Oh, yeah. Due process. Megan Rice sure knows what it is because she was given no due process. Cruel and unusual punishment they're doing to me? Oh, absolutely cruel and unusual. Well, cruel. Unusual in the United States now. They incarcerate people just like they do in Russia for not doing anything wrong. So, Einstein proves that light does curve. It's beyond revolutionary. It sets the world on fire. It's really not a grid. Changes the world. The so-called nuclear thesis, he's the most famous man in the world. He's living in Long Island, New York. One of his friends, one of his scientists, comes from Austria, comes over and says, hey, Einstein was Jewish. J. R. Oppenheimer was Jewish. Let's remember this, you anti-Semitics. You want to throw everything, oh, the Jews, that's so over the top. It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. To pigeonhole a group of people, say they're all this, they're all that, it's beyond racism. It's grotesque. These are individuals. Hitler was genociding the Jewish population. Literally. Which he did genocide the Jewish population. You know how many of them were taping it? Let's get real, how many he killed. Which, by the way, Hitler was probably a quarter Jewish. He was a sick fucker. With a high intellect, a sociopath on Balco, like the IA's sociopath. So we go along. He comes to Long Island and says, hey, Albert, Hitler has this, what? He has this bomb. They're going to split this atom. He showed him what it was. Einstein's like, oh my God. Do you think he really has it? Yeah, I think they have it. So he wrote a letter to Franklin Roosevelt. He said it was his biggest regret he ever did. You got to realize this is the most famous man on the face of the earth, bar none, Albert Einstein. You don't think FDR's going to listen to him? Oh yeah, he listened to him. The Manhattan Project is born. The resources that were thrown at the Manhattan Project were so gigantic, and so they're still thrown. The Manhattan Project never stopped. Thus, my gig is called the Post-Ignorance Project, the opposite of the Manhattan Project. It never stopped. Megan Rice knows this. That's why she broke into Y-12. Gorbachev, Reagan signed the non-proliferation contract treaties, which were in violation. The United States is in hardcore violation. She did not break the law. They are breaking the law. That they put her in prison as a terrorist, which nobody even knows. I went to the facility. I was inside the jail that she's in. Wouldn't let me talk to her. Megan Rice is the greatest human rights activist of our time. And no one even knows who she is. So, I like how Fox calls the mainstream media. One, they're the mainstream. It's like people, I got a tattoo because I'm on the counterculturist. When 72% of the population of that generation has a tattoo. So really, who's the counterculturist? Oh, I got a Harley. I ride a motorcycle. And I got a gun. I'm really a counterculturist when 80% have that. So who's the counterculturist? It's been, everything is upside down. You've been so had by Operation Fox Dogma. You feed in, you eat your dogma burgers, and you go for it. Like I said, this station is not for the little kids. You little kids run along to Fox News and you buy some more silver at $50 an ounce and some more gold at $1,900 while the Dow goes up 200%. And Fox News will give you a cookie. It's a control mechanism funded by the CIA. There's no doubt in my life. Bill O'Reilly's own rules. Own works. Well, you know, Stephen, it's all an act. Bill O'Reilly to Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert, well, if you're an act, what am I? You've been had. You've been fucking had right there. Your fucking last penny, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning till 6, working fucking longer to go broker. Longer to go broker. The jobs report comes out. What a scam that is. The unemployment rate is over 30% in this country. Now, remember, there's 40 million so-called illegals in this country, which, by the way, was against the law to pay someone cash. There was never no fence. So, it's the exploited? No, it's the exploiters. Del Monte moved into Mexico, displaced 40 million Mexican farmers who raised produce for a living. Del Monte, the corporate machine, destroyed them just as much as it destroyed us. There's a simple answer to all this, a tariff report. It solves it all. And I can break it down, everything right down to obesity, to mental illness, to all these social problems. Tariff solves them all, every one of them, even nuclearism. So Einstein writes the letter, we go all in. They find the most brilliant man probably in the country, the highest IQ probably in the country, the most brilliant human being probably in the United States at the time, J. Robert Oppenheimer. I think he spoke 7 languages fluently by 16 years old. Self-taught genius. His family liked to go to the hills of New Mexico. He would ride his horse for days at a time. He loved the environment. So they find him at Berkeley. Oh, head of the snake. By the way, I tried to protest at Berkeley. I tried. And the people in San Francisco and Pittsburgh are all a bunch of fucking pussies. They would not go to Berkeley. Everyone was afraid. No, we can't go there. No, we can't go there. By the way, Berkeley was free when I used to hang around there when I was a young guy. Now it's $45,000 for California residents a year. This is a state university. They're worse than Stanford. Oh yeah, tell us it came from Stanford to Berkeley. So, the jobs report. 1 million fell off the participation rate. The lowest participation rate since 1978 for the exact opposite reason. Now let's remember, under the FDR policies, the so-called tariff policies, the Eccleston policies, the tariffs, the taxation rate, the usury laws. The greatest middle class in the history of humanity from 1945 to 1979, United States of America. The greatest socialist in the history of mankind, bar none. We're still hardcore socialists in this country. We're the most socialist people on the face of the earth. Always have been, but we just switched it from a distribution to the populace to a distribution to the military-industrialized complex, to the nuclear cartel. We redistribute more money than we ever did under a so-called socialism system. We are more socialist now than we ever will, but we send it to the bomb builders, the Y-12 government mooches, the welfare queens like Bundy, the welfare whores. Look, you all pay property taxes, don't you? Don't you all pay property tax? I want you, everyone, do you own a home? Do you own a business? Do you pay property? Especially if you own a business, do you pay property tax on that business? Bundy doesn't. But you love that guy. So you spend your own money. It's sick what we've evolved into. So the participation rate's the lowest. Now let's remember, they don't count the so-called 40 million illegals that are in here. So if you put them in, there are more people so-called not working than working, which we know factually is true. Oh, they're working, but they're working for cash. The cash economy is bigger than the real economy. So we've created a pseudo de facto government. We have laws that we don't enforce. We pick and choose pseudo de facto government. It's against the law to pay someone cash, but we turn the other cheek. It's against the law to build more nuclear bombs at Y-12, but we turn the other cheek. We pick and choose our laws that we will enforce. So Einstein goes along, and like I said, if you can't follow along, you guys hop on over to Fox and they will give you cookies. You move on over. You are financially destroyed. They will take every penny. They will take your soul from you. That's what we're Operation Foxconn. They want to destroy you. Sean Hannity, all these people in hairspray, they are devils in hairspray. What do you think the hairspray is all about? Fake Christians. They're not Christians. They're devils. As we were taught, as I was a boy, there would come a time in the United States, even through the Mormon Church, all through it, that Christianity would be hijacked by fake prophets. Fox News, the evangelicals, the Mormons, it's here. It happened. The fake prophets, Iraq, Afghanistan, these war machines, yellow stickers on your car, the fake prophets, they all wear hairspray. It's a masquerade party. You got had. They got fucking horns underneath it. They are devils. They're passive, and they wear their fucking hate and their passion like a badge of courage. They're evil. So Einstein goes along. FDR plays ball. As the bomb is being made and being built, J. Robert Oppenheimer does not want to today. He decides it's going to be in New Mexico for one reason. That's where he lives. He likes to go. He took everybody there. He says, we're going to do this, but he was hired to do it. Paid gargantuous sums of money. He was a peace activist. He probably would have been an environmentalist if he was given the chance. They build the bomb. They make the bomb. Now remember this. When they got ready to drop the bomb, they had bets. Dollar bets, and I can understand the dollar bets among each other. You know, it was scary. I mean, it was a scary time. It was a very scary time. By the way, Hitler did not have it and was never close. Never close. And by the way, the Swedes were making the heavy war. The Swedes went in with Hitler. Remember, fascism was started by the Italians. The Italians were all in for Hitler. Mussolini. The Japanese were all in pro. It was not just the Germans. It was the Japanese. It was the Italians. It was the Swedes. They were all on the same team. America didn't get in. Why would they? Churchill says, oh, no American gives a shit unless it happens 2 inches from their face. Oh, boy, was he right. Fukushima, 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 Fukushima. Oh, I got news for you. It was not 2 feet from in your face. It's in your lungs. It's in your bone marrow. We took the blow. The greatest cover-up in human history is Fukushima. So they evolved forward. Oppenheimer, they make that from me, which I love it, in Michigan. We're all going to go up there and protest. You know, I did my post-ignorance project. What's this lunatic's name up there? She's a musician and whatever. They're a bunch of lunatics. None of them went there. Because they're all talk. I'm not all talk. I'm a real fucking activist. That's why I survived this evil disease. The disease in my body, less than a 3% chance to fucking survive. I'm alive. Alive and fucking kicking. And I'm going to fight for this girl, Alina, because she's dead. And all these there was a Russian little girl in there who passed away with me. She was going to we did that gig with the central line hanging out of my chest in April 2012 on Pussy Riot Day in support of Batman and Pussy Riot. That's my best piece of art I've ever created. She was going to do it with me. With her bare chest, with pasties on, with her central line, and her shriveled up 90-pound freaking body, and her bald head and her blue eyes, 23 years old. Our hospital takes the hardest of the hardest from all over the world. They threw giant resources. You want to talk about the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, everybody broke down for days crying when she died? It broke everyone's heart. This should break your heart, Alina. This is a world-class marquee athlete. The same day that they come out and say, oh, doesn't kill anyone. Chernobyl's killed over 40 million people. And my estimates are freaking that it's probably much more north of that. Fukushima's killed well over 1 million in North America. We know for a fact that cancer rates have spiked. To make bets, Ferman bets $1 that he believes that the bomb will kill everyone in New Mexico. He said that. Him and Teller were evil fuckers. Oppenheimer, this is Frank Oppenheimer's own words. He says, J. Robert Oppenheimer did not want to drop it. He wanted it to a scare bomb. Now remember, the Japanese refused, and it wasn't the Japanese people, it was that fucking evil emperor. Remember, they had a fucking system for hundreds of years, just like the other system, shoguns. I mean, they had a feudal system for hundreds of years, which they still do now, but it's run by the United States. Well, the Queen's Army right now. Barack Obama's own words. These treaties were signed when he was just over there. These treaties were signed long before I was born. Absolutely they were. Congress gridlocked because Operation Foxconn. Oh, because they fucking are racist. I mean, they're not going to let this guy get anything done, even though I call him, let them eat yellow cake. Marie Antoinette. Not a fan of his. I'm really disgusted, but do I hate? No. You guys hate. I don't have hate in my heart. I have love in my heart for the people that have passed. So Oppenheimer wants to drop a scare bomb. Remember how many, I think there was 200 or 300 United States Marines being killed a day on Okinawa. Germans are already surrendered. The emperor would not give up. We're firebombing every city in Japan. Are we still there? Dan?
Yes, you're good, Kevin.
So he wanted to drop a scare bomb to scare the emperor. He was overrode by Teller. He was overrode by Ferman. Now remember Teller from Stanford, the Hungarian evil, scummy fucker that he was. This is the guy that ran the nuclear cartel clear into the Reagan administration. Star Wars were nuclear tipped. That bushy freaking eyebrow. I wonder how he likes hell. I wonder how he likes snuggled up next to the fucking devil and sucks into a black hole. That guy's could be the most evil man who ever lived. Cal Berkeley. You know, Cal Berkeley has this symposium, this woman. Boy, have I gone at it with her. The J. Robert Oppenheimer Symposium, she's funded by a foundation, an endowment that's left millions and millions of the what Cal Berkeley did to Oppenheimer? Oppenheimer was he was an anti-bomb. So was Einstein anti-bomb. The military-industrialized complex that Eugene McCarthy, who made the decision, Berkeley made the decision that marked my father into the trench, a drafted Marine, United States Special Forces, 40,000, a human guinea pig, and then give me leukemia before I was even born. That decision was made at Berkeley, which still is made at Berkeley. Look what they did to John Goffman. They would always throw a false equivalency there and have the debate. Not anymore. I've been on that campus. I've been on there 3 times this year. You can't even have a conversation with these young students because they think they're elitist now. $40,000 a year for a residence. That's what academia's turned into. It's 2 Americas. There's one America, then there's the America for well over half the population, which are jobless, homeless. They're committing suicides in droves. 50-year-old men, construction workers, plasters, drywallers, rock masons, restaurateurs, business owners. They've all been taken out of the equation. Well, what do? They get divorced. They drink themselves to death. They pop pills. Oxycontin should be pulled off the market. No, they pop pills till they're dead and they don't wake up. What else do? Their careers are destroyed. The world is destroyed by the New World Order, no, the Old World Order. Because we got rid of tariffs. We quit enforcing. We feed. Operation Foxconn frees this dynamic. Go buy some more gold at 1900. Go buy some more silver at 50. You and Max Kaiser and Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck is a fucking mentally ill, fucking devil wacko psycho. That guy is a sociopath, mentally ill psycho case. And the people that are supporting Bundy down there are mentally ill, psychotic, sociopath, sick self-indulged, low IQ. The hallmark of a low IQ, the hallmark of ignorance is prejudice. Period. You show me a guy who's a prejudiced person, and in Utah I hear it all day, every day. The Mormons are the most racist people in the history of humanity. So are the evangelicals. What Bundy said down there is exactly what all Mormons think. They think they're the only ones going to heaven. And the evangelicals have thought Jesus died so I can be rich. They're devils. Joe and his trophy wife and their mega, they will all rot in the lowest form of hell. They are the opposite of Jesus Christ. And most atheists love Jesus Christ because he was the philosopher. He was the champion of the sick, the weak, the homeless. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Thou shalt not kill. He threw the money changers, the usury complex, the bankers out of the temple. Operation Foxconn loves those people. You support those people as you are the poor, and they're making you poorer and poorer because they're the peasants. I will quote Franklin Roosevelt's son, which I think is one of the most powerful books I've ever read. He says, here is Winston, FDR sitting around the White House, and young Franklin. After all the meetings and everything, they're sitting around, Churchill was a hardcore alcoholic. By the way, Churchill came out of Scotland Yard. He was ex-CIA, and he had his political operatives that he didn't like. He had plenty of them killed, lots of them. You read into what Churchill's background. You Scots, dig into him. Dig into what he did to a lot of the Scots before he became Margaret, the pre to Margaret Thatcher. They're evil fuckers over there. Blair's an evil fuck. By the way, Blair was having sex with Murdoch's freaking gold-digging Chinese oligarch wife. Tony Blair, look it up. Did you see that in your mainstream media? Fox News, fuck, bad mouth in the mainstream media when Fox News is the mainstream media. It's a propaganda machine for the military-industrialized complex funded by the CIA. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. 9/11 money was funded back. They're sitting around the White House, and he says this. Winston, when I was a boy, I went to England. I saw Queen Victoria. I got to tell you, I hated the old witch. There's nothing more quintessentially American to hate the monarch system and hate the royal family. And we're going to take her down just like they were taken down in Russia, just like they were taken across Europe. And they were taken down by bullets. The entire royal family was executed, dead. They took Mussolini, who was Hitler's crony, hung him upside down and his mistress, and burned him alive and skinned him alive. I finally got a great tweet from somebody who calls herself Franco's Army. I'm like, oh, wow. They get it. This is history repeating itself. He says, Winston says, you're flying in the face of everything jolly old England stood for several hundred years. And Franklin, oh yeah, that's what America is. There's nothing quintessentially more American. That's what the Revolutionary was. We put a tariff at the port. Alexander Hamilton, the first 8 employees of the United States, a socialized system, the Coast Guard. We collected duties at the port. The Tariff Act of 1791, long before the Bill of Rights. You want to pick and choose your history? You don't even know shit. You don't know shit. You dogmatism fuckers that keep, I'm sick of them. I'm sick of you fuckers participating in the mass murder of the fucking hundreds of thousands of young women that die from Chernobyl a year, the millions that will die a year from Fukushima. Millions. That's how, her death is exactly how nuclear fallout works. Exactly. Born in the Ukraine. Dies 30, you're talking a world-class, marquee 30-year-old athlete. Dies of liver cancer. Oh yeah, that fucking happens. That's natural. No, it's not. It's Chernobyl. It's nuclear fallout killed her. So they're sitting around. Winston says, I know you're right, but if we don't go on with you, we will fall like the rest of them. So they went along. Well, they played long ball. The House of Windsor played. They don't play like we play for a year or 5 years. They play for hundreds of years. And so, well, we'll just rebrand ourselves. We'll just pretend we're Americans, and we'll take over the American system. So they found Bill Clinton. Oh, a Rhodes Scholar? A Rhodes? Who's Carl Rhodes? Oh, he had his own Rhodesia? A pedophile, by the way. A hardcore pedophile. Had his own country. Oh, that's who the Rhodes Scholar's named after. Carl Rhodes, Rhodesia. Yeah, same thing in Africa right now. Giant land grabs by the way, Putin, Barack Obama is not royal family. But by the way, Barack Obama really is Dick Cheney's 8th cousin. Look it up, Ancestry.com. Out here did it. He really is. He's Dick Cheney's 8th cousin. Fact. He's not black. There's nothing African American about him. Not one thing. Grew up in freaking Hawaii, raised by middle class, upper class, neoconservative freaking bankers. Are you on the basketball team, Barry? No, why do you say that? A tall, skinny black guy at Harvard Law? There's nothing black about him. Never has been. Now, Michelle, I have hope for her. I always thought maybe she'd kick him in his balls and say, hey, her family came from that plight. Oh, by the way, last name Robinson. Jackie Robinson was the greatest black athlete, but he was the toughest. He broke down. I always heard Ernie Harwell, Detroit Tigers. One of the greatest freaking baseball historians and baseball voices in history. Grew up in Mississippi, hardcore racist. He said, Jackie Robinson would sit on the bench. He was called the N-word to his face. He didn't just sit there and take it. He got back and Pee-wee in these guys' face and says, oh yeah, let's fight. You want to call me that? He had him by the throat. He put the fear of God in men. He fought back. It only took him about a year. Not only did those guys quit being racist, they fell in love with that guy. Ernie Harwell said it was his favorite person in the world. He says, he changed me. He brought me out of my dogma. Jackie Robinson changed my world. Blanch Rickey picked him for a reason. He could have picked Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, the 2 greatest baseball players of all time. By the way, Babe Ruth was half black. There's no doubt about it. Orphan in Baltimore. No doubt about it. It broke the dogma. Ernie Harwell said it was his favorite person of all time. He says, he rocked my world. He changed my world. He broke me out of that sickening, ignorant stereotype that I was brought up with. As I did lead the Million Masked Man March in Washington, D.C., by the way, no media coverage. RT was there. You look at that video on the cover of my YouTube, that's her walking behind me to the left. You can see her. She walked the whole path with me, the whole day. I was right down Pennsylvania Avenue. That's on a Tuesday. They don't let anybody do that. And I'll tell you how they let me do that. The day before, I spent the whole day because when we showed up to do our RT interviews, by the way, the exact day TEPCO was called into the White House, November 4th, 2013. Ernest Monsi, the head of nuclear cartel, went over to Japan. We're right there as TEPCO goes in. They retooled the propaganda machine. The head of security comes to me. They know my name. I mean, Capitol Police in plain clothes everywhere. Security around that place would blow your mind. Snipers all over the freaking top of the roof. They have lasers on your head. I could see them right there, right on me the whole time. Me and him talked for a long time. And I told him, look, when are you guys going to realize you're on the wrong side? You want to protect the oligarchs? We started talking cancer. His sister had just passed away from leukemia in San Francisco. Born and raised, Marin County, by the way, is one of the cancer capitals of the world because Berkeley used to take their waste from their secret lab, who's right behind the fucking football stadium. Go there. Right behind. I've been chased out of there many times. In a beautiful wooded area. They used to dump their waste in Marin County. All you elitists there living there. You're the cancer capital of the world, Marin County. Yet you don't care because you think your money's going to save you, and your money's not going to save you, Steve Chinese job. It's not. You think you're on the winning team. You're not on the fucking winning team. How much money do you think Alina had? How much money do you think Steve Jobs had? Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't fucking matter. So FDR, Churchill, they play long ball. They get rid of tariffs, Bill Walmart Clinton. They get rid of usury laws. They stop the anti-trade. Oh, fuck, name me one socialized system from 76. Okay, how about the United States Coast Guard? How about the collection of tariffs at the port? We had more debt than we do now per capita GDP. People folding paper all over the United States. Little old ladies on ranches. White Anglo-Saxons have been in America for 150 years, 200 years. Why the Revolutionary War then? Oh, it was a tariff war. Sam Adams, dressed up like Indians, threw the tea over because they were bootlegging their tea in. We must stop the East India Company from bringing in cheap Chinese goods to our shores to incentivize of purchasing of homemade goods. Alexander Hamilton, Tariff Act of 1791, which Jefferson knew. Jefferson knew. It's pragmatic. Everybody says, oh, Jefferson and Hamilton hated each other. Hamilton's the more intelligent one by far. Hamilton's, a Greek tragedy. His father, Scottish royalty. Oh, yeah. But they abandoned him. It all comes back to Scotland, you Scots right there. This girl died. Your fight against the Queen. William Wallace's real man 700 years ago. It's history repeating itself. J. Robert Oppenheimer was peace. He wanted no part of the bomb. Sokolov. So, Stalin, FDR, after they dropped two, not one, but two, they were going to drop a third one. And you think Truman had a choice in the fucking matter? Are you fucking kidding? Remember the Bataan death marches. Remember how evil the fucking Japanese fucking royal family was. Their populace had no clue. They were, again, because they had a feudal system. You look up the Bataan. Those guys said they would sit back, they would dress them in diapers, and they were starving to death. They would sit back to back, the people that knew each other, because when one died, others would slit their throat and drink their blood, and they didn't want their friends' blood drank. What the Japanese did to prisoners of war from the Philippines and look at the Bataan Death March, not to mention the mines they shoved them in. You think that Truman had any choice? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The hate was very real and rightful against Japanese people because they didn't know, but that's how wars work. The royals, the elites, the bankers, they sit back, just like Operation Fox. None of them ever fucking bled. George Bush, draft dodger. Dick Cheney, draft dodger. Freaking Donald Rumsfeld, draft dodger. None of them ever fucking bled. That's how they play. Wrap themselves up in the flag till you come home. Then they don't even know your fucking name. They're phony frauds. They're fucking devils. So they're sitting around after they're breaking up and deciding. You can see the videos there. Stalin and, let's remember, Russia lost 28 million men in World War II. They won the war. The Battle of Stalingrad. They were down to fighting with 14-year-old girls. There were no men left. None. They fucking held off fucking Hitler. 28 million men. Do the math. All the men. Dead. They're sitting around. You could see that FDR and Stalin started to be friends. Well, J. Robert Oppenheimer wanted to share the technology of the bomb with the Russians. He wanted to. He got override by the Eugene McCarthy, Cal Berkeley, Teller because they had the field. They overrode him. They labeled him as a communist because what? His wife, Franco Spain, that's his wife. Look up who his wife. He was no fucking communist. They had to destroy him, and they did destroy him. They had to let Teller, because Teller, the Hungarian evil creep, was much lower IQ than J. Oppenheimer and Einstein. Kind of a dumb fucker, probably the dumbest scientist in human history. Berkeley loved him. Because he could be controlled, and he was controlled. He got peace. Sokolov says, "Oh, say fuck you." So they made the decide. You can look at Churchill looking at Stalin and FDR and just glaring at them, because they were starting to become friends. And they were pushing him aside because FDR at his root, FDR used to read Hamilton over and over and over. His own words. Alexander Hamilton, the greatest human who ever walked, ever lived. And if you don't think Jefferson loved Hamilton, let's remember this. And Hamilton loved Jefferson. Hamilton took a bullet for fucking Jefferson. Hamilton was having sex with this beautiful, beautiful fucking girl who was paid. Get this. Her husband was so evil, like these Operation Foxconn, he was a political operative who hired his own wife, Washington, D.C., to have sex. And it wasn't just something, I mean, Hamilton wrote about very passionate, intimate sexual relationship for a long time. Hamilton says, I made a mistake. I thought she loved me. She caught me. I'm a vulnerable. I'm a human. He told on himself. He would have been the second president of the United States, absolutely no doubt. Lock, stock, barrel. George Washington called him his pseudo de facto son. You know, the 12-year-old orphan who was doing the books for the slave trade in the Caribbean as a 12-year-old. A fucking genius way beyond his time. That fucking Scottish royal fucker who fucked his mother and abandoned her. Oh, kind of like Da Vinci, kind of like these tragic figures of all time, these oligarchs, and then they abandoned. Well, he knew. They fucked with the wrong dude. The Queen fucked with the wrong dude. The fucking royals fucked Alexander Hamilton. By the way, as Secretary of the Treasury, he paid himself 0.0 the entire time. Paulson robbed it for $400 billion. You ever hear anything from Paulson now? No, he's hiding his own fucking island. One of the greatest terrorists in human history, Alan Paulson. One of the greatest terrorists, the greatest terrorist in human history. Easy. That's easy. Alan Greenspan. Ayn Rand fake. By the way, Ayn Rand was funded by the military-industrial complex CIA. You do know that. She was a writer. That's what they do. They take these writers, these artists. Malcolm Gladwell funded by them. It's been proven. You guys just fall for it because you're too fucking. You won't dig in. So they want to share the technology with the bomb. Won't do it. Won't fucking do it. So Stalin and Russia's like, okay, fuckers, in the United States, you think you fucking got some bombs? Watch this. A guy named Andrei Sakharov, who ended up being one of the greatest human rights activists in world history. Nobel Prize winner. Not like Obama. He deserved his. Obama needs to get his fucking back. Talk about a prima fucking donna. Fucking white guy from fucking Hawaii. Neoconservative white guy fucking funded by the fucking House of Windsor. No fucking doubt. Just like fucking Bill Oxford Clinton. At least the Bush crime family, we knew they're fucking war fucking Nazis. We knew that. Prince Bandar, Brother Bandar, stayed at the fucking Crawford Ranch with it. Calls him his own brother. The Saudi royal family. There's another fucking royal. The Chinese royal family. The Saudi royal family. The UK royal family. The American royal family. Which, who is the American royal family? It's like somebody said, oh, Soros is the front for the fucking Rothschilds. You think, really? You think fucking the Rothschilds need a front man? Are you fucking kidding? The House of Windsor, the Bank of England. Oh, the money funded back to the Bank of England. Fed hijacked? Oh, yeah. So we go back. They won't share. Stargard says, watch this, fuckers. 100 megaton fucking bomb the Russians developed quickly. 100 mega. He backed it off to 50. They drop it in Siberia over the top. We recorded in the United States here as an earthquake. Oh, wait, well, what the fuck? They recorded as probably a meteor struck the Earth. That's what people were thinking here. The Swedes finally come up. They're detecting huge amounts of plutonium over fucking Sweden. Then that's cat was out of it. Russia comes out, yeah, fuckers. You want a fucking war? Because Churchill intervened in the relationship between. And they found Teller. The same people made the decision to take 40,000 their finest of their fine, Special Forces Marines, including my father, march them into the trenches at ground zero, nuke them to death, give them all leukemia, cut their tonsils out experiment when they knew that it would kill them, when they knew that it would give their children leukemia. Me, born autistic, born all kinds of things. Most people, there's so many of us around the country and they don't even know they're there. 100,000 of them. Mass murder. Well documented. Historical fact. These are the evil fuckers at a brew. This is the IAEA. These are the people that killed Alina. These are the fucking people. Now, remember, Chernobyl was not an earthquake. Chernobyl was human error. And we have fucking 104 of these things in the United States, and we got San Onofre shut down, but does it matter? No, because spent fuel's stored on site. Oh, earthquakes don't happen in California. Yeah. Oh, can't have tsunamis in California. Really? Huh. Dogmatism, ignorance on Balco. So they dropped the 50 megaton fucking bomb. You think it's a coincidence that Einstein, Sokolov, all these powers, these geniuses, all become the most hardcore, J. Robert Oppenheimer become the most hardcore anti-bomb fuckers in the world? They decide to drop the bikini bombs against Oppenheimer. That's when they ostracize him and says, oh, he's a Tommy. Eugene McCarthy, that sick, mentally ill fucker. Eugene McCarthy was watching today, he would have his own show on Fox. These are evil fucking low IQ prejudiced fucking people. Sick fucking murderers. Mass fucking murder. These are crimes against humanity until you wake up and realize, the ILC right here in Utah, Olympic Organizing Committee, which was exposed the most corrupt Olympics in the history were the 2002 Winter Games at Salt Lake City. I was involved in that fight. I knew Wells personally. I grew up with him. I was right by his fucking family. They would make just suitcases of cash. These are oligarchs from hell. Oh, the ILC and the IAEA are the exact identical people. They co-opted the UN under the Price-Anderson Act, and Congress co-opted it. Did you know? Look up the Price-Anderson Act. If you know all about the Price-Anderson Act, you understand there's no liability. Now, are they starting to eat their own? That's why they did that gig at Hastings. Hastings lied to them. They got stuck in the mud. They got fucking stuck in a Donner's Pass, and they ate each other. That's what's happening. Do you know that Exxon has filed suit against the DOE and vice versa? The big nuclear who put Obama in the White House, by the way. Axelrod, all these guys are Exxon. They're the big nuclear freaking reactors across the Midwest. They made a statement a couple quarters ago. I'm a hedge fund guy. I read between the lines. Says we're pivoting out of nuclear unless we can get some more profitability. That's nothing but a statement to the Department of Energy. You've given us billions and billions. We need billions and billions and more. Fuck you. We're not going to make your nuclear weapons no more. It's just a fight among. So Exxon has filed suit against the Department of Energy recently. Oh, they're starting to eat their own. They're starting to eat their fucking own. So the Cold War never stopped. Colonialism never stopped. The quintessential tool of anti-colonialism was tariffs. Oh, we got rid of those. Oh, we got rid of Ross Perot said it so elegantly and so perfectly and so geniusly. Now tell me which party's the terror party? I always thought the blue ones were. The progressives. The Democrat Party was completely hijacked by the fucking passive-aggressive fucking, you think they're elitist liberals. That was never, Bobby Kennedy was mean or else he knocked the fuck out of you. These were fucking bulldogs. The Democrats were mean fucking bulldogs. They fought, they bled, they were hardcore. They got hijacked after the death of Bobby Kennedy. The passive-aggressive fucking liberals. The neocons, Eisenhower's daughter's own words. The Republican Party has been completely hijacked by the mentally ill, insane queen. The Republican Party, Fox News is the Republican Party. Lock, stock, barrel, the House of Windsor. Lock, stock, barrel. All in. The British invasion? Oh, yeah. CNN, Piers Morgan, the new head of CBS, they're all fucking Brits. All from the House of Windsor, all educated at the same place Bill Oxford Clinton was. They're all the same fucking people. Bloodlines? Nope. They're all it's the same thing as the royal family, China, Russia, all of them. It's the same dynamic. It's the same thing. It never stopped. And the new weapon, what's going on in Ukraine, the fight in Ukraine, these are plutonium wars. There's 14 nuclear reactors. Type in one of them. Type in Rovolo, which was taken by the dissidents. This is all a smokescreen. They're just chopping up and dividing resources, natural resources and nuclear. Because look, you own all the nuclear weapons, you just put a nuclear weapon in the country, in Africa or whatever, anywhere. They fuck you, we're taking your natural resources, and if you don't, we will fucking nuke you. And what do? Look what they did to Iran. Blowing up young scientists, mass murdering the young scientists, and their children, and their whole families in Iran. It's exposed. Who exposed the whole fucking program? The 5-star Marine, the Joint Chief of Staff. Holden comes out, there'll be no prosecution. Yeah, I guess they're fucking lucky. Why would the Marines do that? Because they're sick and tired, like my father being nuked to death. They sprayed white phosphorus on their own Marines in Fallujah. All you people of the USS Reagan want to jump on that bandwagon now. I was at the hearings all summer last year in San Diego. I'll be there again for 2.0. And the hearings happened last summer. But the judge had to throw it out on a technicality under jurisdiction. I have the entire transcript. I was there. I was at the Megan Rice. I was there. You people in San Francisco I don't give a fuck. I mean, fucking talk about denial on Balco. Literally, Balco. There was a Little League football camp on the USS Reagan in August. I reported it. And think about that. You want to talk about litigation? As I say in that video with my line hanging out, as future generations will mitigate. There's no mitigation as far as death. Money can't replace life. This is a fucking war they're waging on us, the nuclear cartel. The IAEA comes out the same day that she dies. The Manhattan Project never stopped. Megan Rice knows this. The greatest human rights activist in 100 years. The daughter of Madeleine Rice. I met her in the Nevada test site with her mom, by the way, many years ago. I met her through a girl from Femen. I didn't really know the story of Chernobyl in detail, as anti-nuclear I was in Utah, because we never heard anything about it. It was Femen that went in and told the world that all these young girls are dying, and they will die for thousands of years. Like I said, Chernobyl, her story. This story has to be told. She can't fight from the grave. All these people that I watch die, cancer rates are spiking. Our hospital is overflowing. Absolutely overflowing. We take the heart, TEPCO is us, Westinghouse, Department of Energy. The Manhattan Project gone amok, out of control. Violating laws. We know this. Running behind the scenes, putting people in jail for even tweeting, talking. You can't even make a tweet out of Japan with the word Fukushima, with the word nuclear. Radio show hosts, dissidents, activists, and let's talk about the intelligent people in Taiwan. They're smart people. Polls are showing 80% of people don't want nuclear. 80%. Some of the greatest protests in human history are going on in Taiwan right now as we speak. Do you see it on any media? Our media is totally... Now, think about this. The black and yellow journalists, they're criminals. They're criminals because you're on a news desk at CNN, at Fox, at any of these places. The San Francisco Chronicle, the LA Times, the freaking... all these, the Washington Post, the New York Times. You don't break ranks? You're not going to report what's going on in Taiwan? Really? Are we there, Dan? I've gotten a lot of background noise.
Yeah, you're still there, Kevin. You good?
No one reports this. It's not reported by anyone? Really? No one's reported this. These are giant, 80%, and they're shoving nuclear right down their throats. That's the powers there be. That's what's going on. These lying polls and this lying propaganda machine that we get through the so-called mainstream. We get it through alternative media. I tell everybody I'm the alternative to the alternative. It's outrageous. You could hear me when I give that speech in front of the White House. By the way, there was 5,000 people there. Around the world, we had millions. John Anthony Fairhurst, Steve Grant, and I organized that, put that together. I awoke a sleeping giant called Anonymous. They had no idea about Fukushima. John Anthony Fairhurst did. That's why he asked me to do it. I led that right down Constitution. Right down Pennsylvania. You can't do that on Tuesday. With the police, I just said, fuck it. He stands himself as Kevin, hang on. Because he believes in me. He's like, Kevin, you woke me up. This is the head of security at the White House. Told me himself. Because everyone has death from cancer. Cancer, a young woman dying of fucking cancer at 30 years old, you know, which we all have it in our families. We all have it. You think that's natural? The Native Americans know. They've said it for years. They know, you know, Megan Rice, that statement, the most evil thing throws off the balance. How are we going to heal this planet? As I use the wolf's the only thing to say, surviving in Chernobyl. It's not normal. It's not the normal cycle of life. It's murder. It's fucking mass fucking murder. Until we realize that as anti-nuclearists, and you know, we can be the Helen Caldicott of the world, we can be the Chris Busby, we can be the Arnie Gunderson, and we can play softball with these fuckers all we want. We feed right into them. They're like, oh, you pussy-ass fucking environmentalist liberals, shut the fuck up and go drink your lattes and get in the fucking corner. Go eat another organic tomato and shut the fuck up. Okay, and you tower under the fucking table. Not me, motherfuckers. Not me. Never. I don't care how big this bully is. As David reached into his bag, and he pulled out the stone, he slung the stone, and the stone struck the giant in the head, and it embedded in the giant's forehead, and the giant fell to the earth. This is David versus Goliath. We have no funding, none, zero. Not if I've done so much of it. I look back on what I've been. My doctor had a long time. Kevin, what you've done with this disease in your body. So poor, because I had to fork over everything I had to get in that bone marrow. You know, I always had money. I've been very successful my whole life in a lot of ways. Gone. Everybody abandoned me. The women that I was sexually involved with, my mates, my people, everybody's abandoned me because I refused to cave to the complex. I stand on human rights issues when it's so, I mean, you know how in vogue it is for a middle-aged white guy to be a fucking environmentalist in Utah? You know, these guys want to fight me. They laugh at me, they whatever, and I'm like, fuck you. You know, they think I'm a joke because they have bought into the doctrine that, you know, we're just here to exploit and rape the fucking earth and make the money, and, you know, they're not fathers. Father's role is to protect his children and his grandchildren. That's what the father's role is. That's what I do. So who's the fucking phony fakes? Because I refuse to cave. I'm a hard fucking nose activist, and everybody around here, and I'm so hated around here. I go up to the Mormon church, hates me with, and they still count me as a Mormon. They hate me with a fucking passion. The academia hates me. I don't give a fuck. My doctor says, Kevin, what you've been able to do for 2.5 years with no money, fucking in critical condition, he says, is one incredible, amazing. My 40-year oncology career, this is a rock star of the oncology. He says, I've been around a long time, Kevin. He says, what you've done without a bone marrow transplant, I had to make that choice. And I made it. It was a scary, hard choice. We flew blind on this for the last fucking almost 2 years, completely blind. Because I refused to have any bone marrow biopsies. I couldn't handle them anymore. They're going to be hurt. They hurt. That hospital is so hardcore, the pain that you go through, the intensity, that central line, you're leukemia and you down to nothing. That was a tough choice for me. I prayed and prayed about it and meditated. And I did that, and I made that decision. And I know that we had no CAT scan. It was too much radiation to CAT scan. So we've been flying blind, and I've known that I know that it comes back 85% of the time and it just mass murders. I know that it's been right on my neck. We'll continue this conversation among my Utah, but I'm not going anywhere. And I'm fighting for Alina. I'm fighting for all these people that the nuclear cartel killed. They murdered them. And until all you guys realize this is a fucking war, a real war, you know, and we have to win this fucking war. We have to win this war. This is David versus Goliath.
All hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Bloomgate 311.